What's that?
Is that hard to balance?
Yes, it is.
It is? It's a great work ethic, right?
Not really.
Oh, no? I wish you could work out more.
Well, at first it is when you're learning. Yeah.
Like a skateboard?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Not really. I mean, no, it's not. No. What's this? Your what?
Bible literature for families and children.
Oh, JW. It's Jehovah Witness stuff. Oh, okay.
Everything is free.
What's that?
Everything is free of charge.
But would I want it even if it is free?
Would you want it?
Would I want it even though it is free?
Yeah. Well, it's up to you. That's up to you. That's your choice. It always refers to the Bible, scripture. So if you're a Bible reader or if you have one at home, it's all the literature.
I read the Bible before. I didn't really care for it.
Did you feel like you understood it?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a really bad story. I didn't like it.
Well, sometimes it helps to have a guide, because then it helps us understand.
My conscience is my guide. Reason and logic. I'm governed by reason and logic.
Well, that's good.
I don't need. And the Bible is old, and we don't know who wrote it, and it was edited over time by we don't know who. It has no science in it. I mean.
It does have science, though. The Bible in Isaiah, it talked about the earth being a round sphere.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
No, it didn't say sphere. It's circle, not a sphere.
Well, it can also mean.
And that's not
sphere.
science.
Well, it was hundreds of years before they thought the earth was a flat plane.
But it doesn't say a sphere though, so it's not science. It's a circle. You have to interpret it. So you can't say it's science because you interpret it to see, well, maybe they meant this. That's not science. Science has to be like specific, right? So anyway, I didn't really like it because the Bible was really like, I mean, to me it seemed like, outside the story of Job, it seemed like Satan was the better person than God. Because God killed tons of people and Satan, the devil, never kill anybody. So it seems like the devil was a better person than God. That's what I got out of it.
Understanding that you might have gotten wrong, because it was never God who actually killed people.
It wasn't. So the whole flood thing never happened.
The flood did.
So then God did that. So he did kill people. Oh, okay.
But if you look at the reasons of why he did it.
But he still killed people, regardless of the reasons, though, right? I mean, why? What reason would we have for killing all these people?
Well, it was creation. So he has to
But he created it.
Yeah.
So he's killing his own creation.
Well, God has the right to set the standards of right and wrong. So
Is that really the standard? What God said?
Yeah, I believe his standards.
If God told you to kill somebody, would you do it?
It's against what he said, so I wouldn't tell me to do
How do you know that? What if he did tell you?
Because it's in the Bible. It's not in the
No,
Bible.
what if God decided, well, fuck that, I want you to go kill somebody? Would you do it?
No.
You would?
Because I know he wouldn't tell me.
No, I'm saying an if God told you. It's an
But that
if.
wouldn't.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that if would not have even existed. So that if.
I'm saying if God, like, if God said to
But
tell
like
you
how
to do
you
it.
said, you like logic.
Right.
Logically, that would not happen.
How do you know? How do you know?
God is love.
How do you know God is
And
love?
he's already, because he laid everything out in the Bible.
How do you know that the Bible is what God says?
Well, because that's what we believe. That's the faith.
Okay,
that
but
we
it's what
have.
you believe, but how can you show it?
I can show it by Bible prophecy. It's accurate.
Like prophecies, what do prophecies have to do with written by God?
The Bible's been the whole Bible was written by 40 different men.
No, we don't know who wrote it.
It's
We don't know who wrote
all
it.
in harmony.
It's not in harmony. There's actually contradictions in it.
Yeah. No, it is harmonious.
What do prophecies have to do with something being true or not?
Because they were written hundreds of years before an event occurred.
All that means
then
is
it
someone
was
read the Old
there.
Testament, and after reading it, they wrote the New Testament. That's all that means, right?
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
But how is that? How would that show that there's a God? Even if a prophecy did happen, which it's very debatable. Even if it did happen, how would that show that a God exist? How would that give verification of a God that exists? Like if someone predicted something in the Bible, okay, and it was true, totally true, even though it's highly debatable, even if it was true, and I gave you that, how does that show us that a God exists? How does that have anything at all to do with a God existing?
The Bible itself is inspired by God.
I know you said that, but how does a prophecy prove a God exists?
Because we know a man cannot foretell the future. Man cannot foretell the future, so that would have to be divine inspiration.
How do you know man? Wait, why is the only answer divine inspiration? How do you know man can't do it? Maybe it's people that can do it. But even if man can't do it, why would the only explanation be divine inspiration?
Well, but this is not the only reason why we believe that there's a God.
But it is the one. But it is one, and as you can see, it's highly suspect.
Not to me.
Well, to you it's not, but to the reasonable person.
I've studied Bible prophecy. I've studied the Bible. I've spent lots of time trying to understand it, so I can build faith in the Bible and what I read.
But faith is not really a way of knowing anything. Faith is just you telling yourself that it's true.
Yeah, but it's based on knowledge.
No. If it was based on knowledge, you'd be able to show evidence for what you believe.
We do. We explain it to you, but you don't agree.
Prophecy isn't evidence. Evidence means scientific evidence, something that multiple people that you can objectively show to be true. Like any reasonable person can take that information and look at it and come to the same conclusion you did.
Well, in the Bible, it also talks about kings and pharaohs and everything that we know as history to be true. So then how would you explain that?
The Bible, I'm sure, I agree, does have some real people and places, but the way stories were written back then, that's what they did. They took some real people and places and then they mixed it with a bunch of fiction. So, of course we know sticks don't turn to snakes. Of course we know burning bushes don't talk. But all that's in the Bible. So how do you explain that? Just because there may be some real people and places in there doesn't mean that all the stories in there are true. Of course not. You have to show specifically how a specific story is true. You can't refer to a different story and say, well, because this one is true and you verify, then the rest of them must be true. That's not
because
correct.
It's not just one story.
It doesn't matter how many stories there are.
Throughout the whole Bible itself, it will pinpoint places, accurate locations.
Okay. What about the Bible that says that sticks turn into snakes? That's not accurate. That's not accurate.
How do you know that?
Oh, you think sticks can turn to snakes?
That's a miracle.
You believe in miracles? Have you seen a miracle?
Yeah. I see it every day in people, in what God's created.
But you don't even know God created anything. All you do is go by what the Bible says, right?
Well, yeah, I do.
So then you don't know. You just believe. And belief without knowledge is
the
not...
The knowledge is in the scriptures.
No,
it's in the word.
It's in
the history that we've seen in science books, in teachings.
The Bible is the claim. The Bible claims there is a God. It's the claim. It's not the evidence. It's the claim. It's not the claim and the evidence. It's just a claim. You have to have something outside the Bible to show that what's said in the Bible is actually correct.
Well, I guess that's where we differ. When we believe
you think it's okay just to have a claim and then just tell yourself that it's true.
No, see, that's where we're different. And I understand you can have your belief. Okay. That's perfectly fine. But when we're believing is these words are true and they are accurate to us because of everything else that has been proven to be accurate with the stories, with the kings, with the cities, with places that people didn't know of until they found these scriptures, and then it became...
have to deal with a specific assertion itself. If you say something in there is true, you can't go by another story somewhere else. You have to tackle the specific...
Now you're kind of contradicting yourself.
What's that?
You've just contradicted yourself by saying that you can't go by, you say a story, and then it's proven, and then because it's written, well then how do you prove science?
No. I said when something is asserted to be true, like a God exists or something like that, you can't refer to something else, another topic, like prophecies. And then because those are true, that therefore that means that God exists. You're leaving the subject. The subject
is... The same thing is, how do you know that wind exists?
How do I know wind exists? I've got a barometer.
Can you see it?
I can feel it. I can use my senses.
Exactly.
I can use my senses. Right.
We see God's quality everywhere. We see the qualities that God has laid out before us. We see His creation. Same thing with wind.
How do you know it's creation?
We feel it. We can never
How
see
can I
it.
know? How can I know it's creation? How can I know it's creation? How do I know that anything here is creation?
Huh? Well, because of the learning.
What learning?
in the Bible, we know that we see design. Like all these things couldn't have happened by an accident. So
What is?
the
Do
way
you know what the word accident means?
the way our body is created for our heart to
Created?
To beat, for our brain to work.
For the same tube for eating and drinking, for breathing and eating. That's not good.
Everything in if you're living, right?
Just because you're alive doesn't mean it's the best design. I mean, we shouldn't have the same tube for both eating and breathing. That's bad.
But
People choke and die. We
We
do.
have an esophagus and we have a windpipe.
And it all goes to the same tube.
But they're different. Yeah, they're different.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay, so you must have a different body than I do. I don't know.
She studied it medical. She'll be
If you're ever going to say a God exists, don't talk about prophecy. Don't talk about
Okay, we'll
stories.
talk about creation. We can talk about
How do you know about
anything.
anything's created by God?
It's created.
How?
If you look at something and you see the detail in it, there's no way it could just
No,
poof and
complexity
pop.
does not equal design. Complexity does not equal design at all.
It could. For us, for the human body to function the way that it does.
Okay, that doesn't mean it was designed. Just because it's
And
complex.
did you know that, like, when humans design like airplanes and trains, they copy things that they find in nature? Why? Because they're so efficient and they
Of
work
course,
so
because
well.
things in nature have evolved over millions and millions of years. That's why. It's called evolution. Do you know what evolution is?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
What's evolution?
Evolution is just basically poof, something was
No, that's not
created.
evolution. I'll tell you what evolution.
And
Evolution.
continue to evolve.
No, it's not. Evolution is a change in the gene pool of a given species over one or more generations. This is shown to be fact. It's true. This does happen. That's what evolution is. That's the basic definition of evolution. But I'm guessing you guys aren't taught evolution, are you?
No, I'm familiar with evolution.
Oh, you are?
But I don't believe in that. I believe we were
You don't believe in science.
I believe in creation. Yeah, so.
But-
I believe in adaptation. Like we as humans can adapt to
Yes.
our circumstances.
Uh-huh.
But I don't believe that we were formed by an accident and evolved.
Okay, accident just means we're not aware of all the cause and effects that led up to this point. Kind of like chance. Chance and accident are just words we use to describe a series of cause and events that we're unaware of. It doesn't mean that the cause and events that happen up to that point are mysterious or we'll never know. We don't know all the sequences, so we use the word accident or chance. How we got here is still due to cause and effect. There's no mystery behind it. Other than, well, there's mystery behind it. There's no magical thing behind it that we know of. All we have to do is get the knowledge of those causes and effects. But to say that, but you apply your opinion to it. When you say, oh, we're thinking of accident, that's your opinion. You need to have something that shows that we got here through design. You can't just say, that's called the argument from ignorance. When you try to say, well, you don't know how he came, so therefore God must have done it. We don't know that God, what if alien did it? What if it just happened naturally? We don't know. But you can't say that if you're wrong, if you don't know, then therefore I'm correct. That's not honest. That's not honest discussion.
No, but this is my opinion, and I'm
Right, but that's not honest. I'm telling you, it's not honest.
It's my opinion, and
But it's
I'm
a dishonest
entitled to
opinion.
my opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah,
so that's fine.
you're allowed to have your own opinions, but you're not allowed to have your own facts. You can have an opinion about, I think the color blue is the best color in the world. That's great. But when you go around saying that God created this, you're making assertions of fact, scientific facts.
We're not forcing anybody to
Whether
take
you're
our
forcing-
literature,
sure.
but
Whether
we're
you're-
offering it to people.
Whether you're forcing people or not, it's irrelevant. The fact is that it's not quite an opinion when you say something is real. That's a statement of fact. That's not an opinion.
We're sharing something that
I
has
understand.
helped us personally.
You think it's helped you.
And so we want to share that with somebody, and we have a positive message, and we feel that the world needs
I don't think it's
positivity.
positive. I don't think it's positive because belief in God is not come to through knowledge. You don't know God exists because it shows to exist. You have to convince yourself through lack of education or because you're brainwashed growing up that a God exists. You know,
Now,
actually,
did you-
a person like me, I just can't go through and read some scientific literature and come to the conclusion that God exists. I can't do that because that information is not out there. So for you to say it's positive, I think it's negative because you're not giving people truth. You're giving them your version of reality, which might be a virtual reality because it's not backed up by science.
Now, when you come here and ask these questions, are you coming for a positive or a negative?
Actually, anytime someone gets you to think, and a debate or anything like that, it's a positive thing because debate sparks thought. It sparks inquiry. It gets you to question yourself. In order to know that your beliefs or what you believe to be true can stand up to scrutiny, you have to put it up to scrutiny. You have to, in order to get the truth about the world we live in, the first thing you have to do is question any beliefs you have that are sacred and get those flushed out. And if you don't do that, you'll never have the truth about the world you live in because any information you get will be tainted by what you believe to be about the world that could be false.
Well, by you coming, I think you've strengthened my faith in what I believe in, so I do thank you for that.
But you're not even using logic correctly.
And I mean, I don't know why you came. I don't know if you
Well, I saw your table here.
come and
What's
you
that?
get to talk, and that's what we're here for. But we're also, our main focus is so that we can, help others who do want to hear what we are saying.
How would you be helping them though?
Well, it helped us.
How does it help? How does belief in something that's not true help you?
Believing in God is something that has really changed my life for the happier. I see things around me that are just horrible.
Okay, that doesn't mean that it's true. That doesn't mean there is a God. That just means you think that the belief has helped you.
And that's your
that doesn't help. No, that's actually that's an opinion. That's factual.
No, that's an opinion.
No, it's not an opinion at all.
Yeah.
Because it's a fact that doesn't mean that the God exists. In order to know that the God exists, there needs to be scientific evidence that shows that God exists. It doesn't matter what you think it's done to your life or the belief it's done to your life. The belief can have a lot of different effects to your life, but it doesn't mean that the things in the belief are actually true. It doesn't mean there really is a God.
And then in order for that to be concluded, then you have to prove to me that there's no God.
I can't disprove something that hasn't been proven yet.
That's exactly what you're arguing with us. There's something you cannot.
Of course,
but you feel it very strong, and that's great.
Well, until you can prove there is a God, I have nothing to disprove. The burden of proof is always on the person with the positive assertion. If you say there is a God, that means you have the burden of proof. You need to show there's a God. You can't say, well, I believe in a God, you need to disprove it. What information am I going to go by to disprove God?
Our scriptures, the Bible, through the Word, and through creation.
But it's not, because there's no scientific evidence for it. But there's no scientific evidence for that, so it's not proven.
So how did you prove that there's no God for me to believe in?
I can't disprove there's no God. I can't disprove a God because you haven't proven one.
Well, then this conversation will keep going in a circle.
It only goes in a circle because you don't understand the need for scientific evidence for your belief.
You don't understand the need to have God in your life.
You need to show there is a God in order for me to know that there's a God anywhere.
And you need to show me that there's no God.
Then that's an irrational request because you have the burden of proof, not me. You only go in circles because you misunderstand the need for burden of proof.
And I think you misunderstand as well.
What am I misunderstanding?
That there is no God, there is one.
You need to show there is one. That's what you don't get. It's not me not getting something. I know how to use logic and reason. You don't understand the burden of proof. It's not about me not understanding, it's about you not understanding how to use logic correctly, which is why you believe in a God in the first place. What's that?
And I said how we proved it.
You didn't prove it.
That if you don't want to believe in the Bible or God, that's fine.
I can't believe in something that doesn't show it to be true. I'm inoculated against that.
Okay. Well, then that's where we stand. That's where we both stand.
I work for the most accurate interpretation of reality. Okay?
And I work for the most accurate in the way that God works.
No, you go by a story. You believe in a story. You don't go by reality. I live by the most accurate interpretation. I use logic and reason to achieve that. You live in a virtual reality with some made-up God and some book we wrote a long time ago. That's not reality. And until you realize the need for scientific evidence, you'll never have the truth about the world we live in.
Well, I feel the same way about you, and I feel one day you can
It makes no sense for you to say that because you don't even use logic and reason, so you're just trying to turn the table where it can't be turned.
No.
It's all about basic logic.
I feel we're very much strong in our beliefs, and that's great.
Well,
I feel you should always have a belief so strong.
I don't really have a religion of any type.
No, you have a belief in what you're saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I believe in the most accurate interpretation of reality. I believe in the truth.
Okay, so
that's not a belief system. That's just me not wanting people to believe in something that's not true. I'm strongly against people being deluded and believing in something that's bad. Like this. Any type of belief in something that's not true is bad for society. What's that?
I feel like this is a great way of living because...
I'm sorry you feel that way because it's not. It's very bad for everybody to believe in stuff like this. if people didn't believe in this stuff, we wouldn't have 9/11 would have never happened. If people didn't believe in gods and stuff like that, lots of atrocities would. I wouldn't say all atrocities would stop, but we wouldn't have as much pain, suffering, and death that we do today if people didn't believe in the lies like this.
Although I feel if everyone did believe in God in His ways, life would be peaceful.
That's why people kill other people in the name of gods. That's why abortion doctors get killed.
You said God, and that's where.
What?
You said it, and they believe in God.
They believe in gods. Yeah.
You should only worship one God, the one true God.
Well, just because you think your God's the one true one doesn't mean there's not others out there that people believe in. Other people believe in different gods.
I do believe that there are many gods that people believe in.
Right.
But there is one Almighty.
But you can't even show that. You don't know that.
In the scriptures.
Just because it says in a book doesn't mean it's true.
Well, we believe in the Bible.
Well, that's because you don't apply critical thinking to your life. You're void of it in this area of your life. That's the problem. All right, ladies. Well, can't reason without reason. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I fucked with the JWs again there. I had to. I tried really hard to keep them from going in a circle, but they just kept going, and then they accused me of going in a circle when they're the ones going in a circle. So, what can you do? It's Ted the Atheist. Logic.